You know when you're getting to the end of Module 2 Math on the SAT and bam, you hit a super hard geometry problem? Your heart starts palpitating, you feel nauseous, and you get super dizzy. Yep, we've all been there. The SAT geometry problems are some of the worst around. Well, in this video today, I'm going to cover 3 of the most time-consuming, trickiest geometry problems that have showed up on the SAT. But before we get started, all of these problems I'm going to cover are on page 282 of our brand new math workbook. This free workbook has been completely redesigned by myself and my team for 2025, teaching you the concepts you need to know right now on the test. Yes, I did say free. I will link up here to our website so you can go grab that. All you need to do is subscribe to our email list. We will email you a copy. What I would recommend is get your copy right now and try some of these problems along with me to ensure mastery. All right, these problems I'm going to cover with you guys look like circle problems, but they aren't really circle problems. So a lot of the time students will get out of the SAT and they'll say, oh, did you see that circle problem? It was so hard. And really, they're not testing you on anything circle related at all. So I'm going to show you 3 common scenarios of circle questions that are really other types of questions in disguise. First, let's go to page 282 in our math workbook because I want to fill in some necessary notes that you need to know to get these questions right. Tangent means it forms a right angle. Isosceles means it has 2 equal sides. So think 2 radii. That usually works well if you need to draw in a triangle inside of a circle. And a right triangle inside of a right triangle, typically they'll give you a right triangle and then they'll cut it into 2 smaller right triangles inside. They are all similar to each other. All right, let's look at these 3 different scenarios. We're going to start with practice problem 1. So with this one, they don't give you a picture. The first thing you're going to want to do is draw a picture. So it says a circle has center G. So let's draw a circle. And then we've got center G. And then it says points M and N lie on the circle. Well, we don't know where they lie, so I'm just going to draw one here. I'm just going to guess. And I'll draw one here. And then it says line segments MH and NH are tangent. Okay, they're tangent to the circle. So that means they're going to form right angles with the radius. So let me draw a line going through that point, make it tangent. Okay, perfect. And then I'll do the same for H. All right, perfect. And then they said, oh, sorry, I don't know why I called that H. I meant to call that N. My bad, you guys. This is H up here. Okay. It says the radius of the circle is 150 millimeters and the perimeter of quadrilateral, woo, GMHN is 3,500 millimeters. Okay, so I'm going to make a quadrilateral. Essentially, it's going to be this radius, and then H, N, and MH. So let me highlight this whole quadrilateral for you guys. We're really looking at this shape right here. They said the length of the radius is 150. So I'll label that 150 and that 150. Since they said the perimeter is that, well, that's, you know, the whole way around the outside. I'm going to do 3,500 minus 300 because that's the 2 radii. So I know what's left for HM and HN is 3,200. Now, they want to know what's the distance between G and H. Well, here's the funny thing. If I draw that line down the middle, okay, I have a right triangle here. I have a right triangle here. Okay, so what do we know? Well, we know that these triangles are congruent to each other because of the hypotenuse leg theorem. We know they share the hypotenuse. We know that one leg is the same. They're both 150. So essentially that means that HM and HN are going to be congruent to each other. So I'm going to take that 3,200 that was left over for them, and I'm going to divide that by 2. So each one of these is 1,600. And essentially, then I just use the Pythagorean theorem to get the hypotenuse. So it's going to be 150 squared plus 1600 squared equals c squared. When you crunch those numbers and work it out, you end up getting close to 1607. Notice when it says rounded to the nearest millimeter or is approximately, because they just want you to round. So if you get a decimal, don't freak out. All right, so here's the key takeaway with question 1. Students get this one wrong often because they don't know what tangent means. So please don't forget tangent means it forms a right angle. Notice how this isn't even really a circle problem. It's a right triangles problem, testing your knowledge of congruent triangles. All right, guys, if you're finding this video helpful so far, don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. Students do statistically better on the SAT after subscribing to my channel, and I come out with free content every single week to help you master the SAT. All right, let's look at question 2. It says the perimeter of an equilateral triangle is 72 centimeters. Okay, let me draw an equilateral triangle. So an equilateral triangle means all sides are equal to each other. Okay, and then they lie on a circle, the vertices. So we've got 1, 2, 3 vertices lying on a circle. Don't judge my picture. I'm doing the best that I can. Fortunately, you don't get points for pretty pictures or lose points for bad pictures on this test. We have the 3, okay, so the equilateral triangle is 72 centimeters. Well, if the total is 72 and I divide that by 3, each side is 24. So let me go ahead and throw that down. It says the radius of the circle is 𝗣𝗶𝗶𝗲 centimeters. Okay, here's where students go wrong, and I need you guys to be aware of this. When we go to draw the radius in, here's what most students do, and this is a grave mistake. They'll go, boop. Why is that wrong? Well, you end up with this little area right here that's unaccounted for. We don't know how long that gap is. That's going to block you. So whenever you need to draw in a radius, I really recommend you draw it to a vertices so that there's no gap. So you're going to want to draw it in like that. The same goes for, sometimes they'll have square inscribed in circle questions. So let me just draw this off to the side to show you guys. If it's a square inscribed in a circle, oh, that sucks. That picture's so bad. You guys get the point though. Students will go like this again, and there will be that gap there. You don't want to do that. Draw it to the corner. Draw your radius to the corner. Then you can go from there. You can make a triangle, which we're going to talk about in a second with this other problem. But yeah, it's all about how you draw in the radius. So here's the thing. I can actually make an isosceles triangle out of this, because if this is 𝗣𝗶𝗶𝗲, this is 𝗣𝗶𝗶𝗲. Now we know we have an isosceles triangle. Now here's something interesting. That's 1/3, and hopefully you guys can see this. This segment right here is 1/3 of the circle, okay? So that means that this central angle right here is 120 degrees. So if that's 120 degrees, these two base angles, which are the same, it's going to be 180 minus 120, 60 divided by 2. Each one of these is 30. So let me squeeze that in. Okay, I'm going to blow this up so you guys can see this. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to divide this in half to make a right angle, because I already see a square root of 3. And whenever you see a square root of 3 on this test, I want you to think special right triangles 30, 60, 90, because a square root of 3 is one side of that special right triangle. So let me blow up that right triangle that we've got over here. This is 𝗣𝗶𝗶𝗲, this is 30, and then this has got to be 60. Okay. If the whole thing was 24 over here on the side, that means that this is going to be 12. All right. What goes across from the 60-degree angle? Well, if you know your ratios of your sides, the ratios are as follows. Across from the 60 is x radical 3. Across from the 30 is x, and the hypotenuse is 2x. So they're trying to throw you off, making the hypotenuse have a radical 3 in it. Don't worry about that yet. Let's just try to figure out what x is. If we can figure out what x is, then we'll be able to relate that one side of 12 to the other sides and figure out the hypotenuse. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, 12 equals x rad 3. Divide by radical 3 on both sides. Now, how do you simplify that? We'll rationalize the denominator. So that ends up being 12 rad 3 over 3. The 12 cancels with the 3, so it's 4 radical 3. So x equals 4 radical 3. So that means that this side is 4 radical 3. And then this side, since it's the 2x side, it's 2 times 4 radical 3, which is 8 radical 3. So when they want to know what w is, and they said this side is w radical 3, well, w has to be 8 because it's outside of the radical 3. And then you're done. So the value of w is 8. So don't panic. Take it one step at a time. The key is to draw your radius to a vertices, not down the middle, not where there's a gap. And then look for opportunities to make right triangles and isosceles triangles. Here's an example of another circle problem that's really a right triangles problem. All right, guys, if you're finding this video helpful so far, show me some love, hit the like button below. All right, question 3. Now this one looks very intimidating. If you see this towards the end of module 2, my recommendation is to skip it and save it for last. And that's really my recommendation for all of these tricky geometry problems. They take the longest. But what you should notice when you look at this picture is that we have a big right triangle. And then we have 2 smaller right triangles, a medium-sized one and a little one, inside of the big right triangle. This is testing you on similar triangles. So is it really a circle problem? No. If it's a similar triangles problem, anticipate setting up a proportion. That's probably what you're going to have to do. Now let's go ahead, let's read what they give us and we can fill it into the picture. So they said segment XZ is the diameter of a circle and has a length of 150. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually, let's skip that because I already know this question, so I could work through it, but I want to show you what I'd be thinking if this was the first time. And so I guess right now, if this was the first time I did it, I might go like this and label the whole thing 150. And I'm thinking, okay, if we're going to use the big right triangle, that might be valuable to me. But let's see. Here's the key. They said Vy equals the square root of 296. Okay, when we go to the picture, 296 is, and maybe I should erase all of this. There's too much going on now, and I want you guys to really see this. 296 is this side right there. Now, that's going to be the key that unlocks this problem because that is the only side length that they gave us on this problem. And you have to think to yourself, what 2 triangles share that side? It's the medium triangle and the small triangle. So using the big triangle isn't going to help you because we don't have enough to go off of with the big triangle. But we do have a side that's shared between the medium and the small. So what I'm going to do with that 150 side is I'm going to break it up into medium and small segments instead of one large segment. I want to call this smaller piece X, and I'm going to call this bigger piece 150 minus X. And now I can go ahead and set up my proportion. I have 4 sides. I need 4 sides, 2 for each, to set up a proportion for similar triangles. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say we're going to basically be taking the small triangle over the big triangle. And what I'm going to start with is the small triangle's long leg is 296. So we're going to put the long leg first. The big triangle's long leg is 150 minus x. Then we're going to do the small leg. So the small triangle's small leg, which is right here, is x. And the big triangle's small leg is actually square root of 296. Anticipate getting the square roots diagonal from each other, because when you cross multiply, you should get a whole number. Really, this is a quadratics problem in disguise. So let's go ahead and cross multiply. We end up with 296 equals 150x minus x squared. And then what I'm going to do is basically pop that into Desmos and just look at it. But what I want to do before I do that is move everything to the other side so it's all on one side. Otherwise, Desmos gets weird with quadratics and they end up giving you lines straight up and down. So I'm going to move all these terms. So I have a positive x squared minus 150x plus 296. And that's what I'm going to put in Desmos to see the solutions. Because right now we're solving for x. We don't know what those lengths are. And that's honestly what the question is asking for. They want to know what xy is, and they want to know what yz is. So we don't know that yet until we can, solve this in Desmos. So x squared minus 150x plus 296. All right, let's zoom out. So we have one solution at 2 and another one at 148. Which makes perfect sense because that means that xy needs to be the 2 and then 150 minus 2, so the yz is 148. So when we set xy, which is 2, over yz 148, we get k. You can simplify that down to 1 over 74, or you can put it in decimal form if you want. All right, guys, that is it for this video. So as a reminder, if you see a challenging circles problem on your digital SAT, I want you to think triangles. If you made it to the end of this video, type 𝗙𝗍𝗲 in the comments below. I appreciate you guys trudging along with me and making it all the way to the end. I really hope you enjoy our free math workbook. If you haven't grabbed that yet, I will link it up here again. And until next time, guys, happy prepping.